I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And today we're going to be talking about time does not heal, actions do. Margaret, what does that mean?
It's a good existential thought. If you do nothing, probably nothing will change. But if you act, if you make a plan, if you're intentional, whether you got the wrong plan or the right plan, you got a plan.
So my plan is to do a grand gesture with a handwritten letter, followed by a follow-up good reminder text, and then a clean slate message. Is that it?
Yes, and call me later after you've tried all that and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about grief again. All right. This was an article I found written by some folks who have retired by now, from a project called the Grief Recovery Project. And that has been closed after many years of operation, but there is a book, the Grief Recovery Book, which I checked out on Amazon, and it looks like it's excellent. And it has little plans you can make for yourself while you're doing all of this grieving. Mm-hmm. So anyway, this is a psychologist who worked for these folks. He wants to describe the following to us. A while back, I got a call from a young man who was reeling from the impact of divorce that had happened nearly 2 years ago. He had been married for 12 years. His litany of pain was palpable, and his life was affected at all levels, with people falling away from him like leaves off a tree in a windstorm, and his business was diminishing at a rapid pace.
Wow.
Having arrived at the Grief Recovery Institute myself on the heels of a divorce, I could understand what this man was saying. Okay? I told him a little bit of my story, and then I listened to him, and then paraphrased the emotions I was hearing. It was easy enough to establish that his heart was broken, along with his hopes, dreams, and expectations about the future. As the conversation evolved, we came upon one of the classical pieces of misinformation that affects so many grieving people.
Misinformation.
Misinformation, something we hear a lot about these days. Embodied in his story was the idea that he had been waiting for nearly 2 years to feel better, without having taken any actions to accomplish that goal. He was waiting for time to heal his wound.
Well, that's what they say, Margaret.
That's what
Time
they say.
heals all
Yes.
wounds. So it's a lie.
Yes. As if it were not enough for us to talk about the fact that he would need to do something for anything to change, he dropped the bomb that had fueled his call to the Grief Recovery Institute. He asked, "Do you think I should start dating yet?" Now, it's about 2 years after so the only thing that got him to engage with anybody was the question of should he start dating yet. So this guy says, being well-trained and very experienced and polite, I didn't laugh and say, "You have to be kidding," nor did I ask any obvious questions. I simply said, "If you went out to your car and discovered it had a flat tire, would you pull up a chair, sit down, and wait for air to get back in your tire?" He laughed and said, "Of course not." "Would you drive with a flat tire?" "No," he snorted. "That would destroy the tire and ruin the rim." "Ah," I said, "so what would you do?" "I would either get out the jack and repair the flat tire with the spare, or if I was dressed in my suit for work, I'd call the auto club and have them come and repair it." "Oh, so you would either take an action or cause an action to happen that would fix the tire and get you back on the road again, right?" "Yes, absolutely," says the guy. Then I asked him 4 more questions. "Based on what you have told me about the last 2 years of your life, is it reasonable to presume that your heart is very much like a flat tire in that you have no get up and go?" "Yes," said the man, looking somewhat surprised. but he said it very firmly. Is it reasonable to guess that you have had a limited amount of energy with which to participate in your life, and that your focus and concentration have been minimal? Yes, he said, very enthusiastically, like a light bulb was going off in his head. Have you taken any actions to complete the pain and unfinished emotional business connected to the broken hopes, dreams, and expectations you had for your marriage and your life with your wife?
Wow.
After a long pause, in a cracking voice, came the answer, no. Would you take action if you knew what they were? Would you take actions if you knew what they were? Based on the pain I'm in, yes, I think I would, if I could believe that they would help. It would be wonderful if this was a unique interaction, accurate just once for this man and no others. But that would be a lie. The story and tens of thousands of parallel ones have replicated themselves on our phone lines and in our community education programs over the past 25 years. Bottom line, time does not heal a broken heart any more than air will jump back into your flat tire. Maybe it's time that you ask yourself, or help others ask themselves, those last 4 questions, and then go out and learn the actions that lead back to highways and byways for life. Okay?
Yeah.
So it makes perfect sense. Many people think that doing nothing is probably the best strategy. All right?
We are all about personal growth here, and I've been preaching it since I started the channel. Learning about attachment issues, mental health, anxiety, depression, trauma, learning how to be a healthier partner, right? Understanding that your partner has different needs than you do is only going to improve your relationships, and it's going to feel good, and you're going to feel better.
Exactly. Why do people not do it? We're going to talk more about that later. But if people didn't come from a family where people communicated, if people came from a family where it was, World War III, if you said anything about anything, and you learned that communicating was not safe, it's very easy to fall into this kind of a trap. Okay? Yeah. We never dealt with emotions in my house. We never dealt with them in my new relationship here, and I don't know if it makes any difference. But I think the guy did get it by the end.
Yeah.
And it's just not magically going to happen. And again, it's part of having a plan. Either this whole experience and process is going to run you, or you're going to run it. Okay? So that's why we said make even a preliminary plan in the first place, and now this guy needs to make a new plan to see how to move from here.
Absolutely.
Doing nothing and waiting another 2 years isn't going to fix it for him.
That's right.
Okay? So I thought it was a nice way to point that out to the guy.
Yep.
I mean, he was sympathetic and supportive all the way along.
And we can be a part of your plan, of course. We can help coach you along. That's what we're here for. Talking about it, you will feel so much better because we deal with this every day. We know what happens. We have better insight and understanding when we're talking to you guys one-on-one about what happened in your situation, right? Margaret and I are both trained therapists and have been for, Margaret has been doing it for 600 to 700 years.
Yes, I have, really 40 years. But I know he thinks it's 600 years. I let him think that.
Yeah, and I've been doing it for like 20 years and did behavior analysis before that.
Yeah.
So we will be happy to help you with your plan. And if you want to get our help, you can do it on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype, and Margaret is available for Skype coaching.
If you feel that I can be helpful, please sign up.
But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
I'm Coach Margaret.
And we will talk with you soon. To get my help personally, go to askcraig.net and click on Schedule Coaching and choose the option that works best for you. I do email coaching or Skype. To schedule a coaching with Margaret, click on Margaret on the top of the page and order a Skype with her. For the Knowledge Creative Healing course, click on the link at the top of the page and click Get Started Now.